Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm shooting in a different position today, so if it looks off, just let me know down in the comments and I will fix it. And if you're wondering why I have these eye patches on, because I just finished filming part 1 of my skincare routine for you guys, and then after I do this makeup tutorial, I'm gonna film part 2 of how I take off my makeup. So that's why I have these eye patches. I'm just gonna take these off now because we're gonna start with the eyes. Usually I start with the skin complexion, and yeah, I still have blue thing near my eye, but not today. I'm gonna start with my eyes, and I do have a new palette that I'm using. I had this palette for maybe a couple of months now and I haven't used it, so I'm gonna use the Caliente palette from Couture. I would consider this a summer palette, and if I'm honest, I'm trying to soak up the last few days of summer. Everybody's already getting in their fall mode and I'm not there yet, to be honest. I am not there. I am not. But before we get started on the eyes, I am going to apply an eye primer. I know I don't usually apply eye primer. I usually use concealer, but I got lucky enough to get an eye primer in one of my boxy charms a couple of months ago. So we're gonna test out this eye primer. It is, never seen a clear eye primer that is new. Usually the eye primers have some sort of pigment to them, and to apply this eye primer, I'm just going to put it on a brush and paint it on. It might be helpful if I look in the mirror, because I'm making sure I'm looking in the viewfinder. And this eye primer is a lot more sticky than I was expecting. Okay guys, I'm just gonna use my finger because the brush isn't working for me right now. So I'm just gonna apply this with my finger because I want the shadows to stick. So I need my eyes to be a little bit tacky. And if I'm not telling you what the name of the products are, I will have them all linked in the description, or they will come across the screen. So this palette does come with a mirror. It's the Couture Caliente palette. And to start, I am going to take this shade here, Rumba, which is this brown shade, which is of sort, and I'm gonna apply that to my crease with not necessarily a crease brush, but a nice fluffy brush that I can work in. It was actually more of like a brick red, but it's okay. So we're just gonna swipe that in the crease. And guys, this summer I have not been wearing a lot of makeup. Actually, this is more orange than red. It looks brown when you look at it, then as I'm swiping it on my eye, it looks orange. So I'm just gonna do the other eye. And yeah, be careful, don't worry too much, because I'm gonna clean this all up, and if there's any fallout, that's why I'm doing the base second today, like my base second, because I don't know what this palette entails. Okay, so we have one eye done and this one's partially done. I'm probably going to do the other eye off camera. That's usually easy, and plus you guys only need to see one eye. So that one's in my crease. Now I'm just going to deepen my outer V with this other orange shade using the same brush. So I just want that on my outer V, and this one I'm just stamping it on, and this shade is called Vibrous. I wish the shades were on the front of the palette instead of the back. Now that I have that stamped in my outer V like so, I am going to go back with the Rumba shade, which is that brown, and dip into the orange to deepen my crease. And I don't know what shade I want on my lid though, and I did not do my eyebrows, and usually I do them first. We're just going to, most likely, since I didn't conceal my eyebrows, I'm probably just going to put gel. Plus it's hot and I'm not going anywhere, so no need to conceal underneath my eyebrow. So now you can see how darker my eyelid is. And to finish off this look, I really want to use this yellow, but I don't want to mess up this eye look, so I'm going to use, every time I move my finger, hopefully you guys can see, I'm going to use this. I can use the yellow, it's fine. I'm going to use this yellow shade here for my lid, and then the gold as a topper. So I'm going to switch brushes, and I want this to be a flatter brush so I can just set it on my lid. And the yellow does look powdery. It has the most fallout situation. If I bring it, you can see the yellow has fallout coming out of the pan, but it might just mean that the yellow was not pressed enough. So I'm just putting that on my lid, and hopefully it's coming off on camera. I have to remind myself when I'm editing this to crop it so I can zoom in on my eye. I have the camera zoomed in as far as it can go. So I'm just packing on that yellow shade on my lid. Then trying to get it over in the corner is usually hard, because when I open my eye, I kind of lose my inner corner over here. I lose that. So trying to get it as far over possible is hard for me. But if you can't get it that far, it is okay. I'm not trying to be too perfect because I'm going to cover this yellow. I'm going to cover yellow. Now I'm going to switch to a third brush that I'm going to spray with setting spray. I have a rose setting spray. I want the shimmer to pop. So to make it pop, I'm just spraying this with some setting spray. Don't spray inside the color in the eyeshadow palette. Spray the brush. Now I'm just picking that up. Or I might have to also apply this with my finger. We'll see. Let's try the finger. I don't like it. Let's try the flat brush dry. Okay, there we go. I switched back to the first brush that I applied the yellow with. Let's see if I can get this on my eye. And yeah, I don't like it. So I don't like this color, don't like that color, so I'm gonna try the Mamacita shade, which is like a orangish champagne pinkish color. I'm going to try that, see if that'll do something for me. And it does, but it's not, like I said, as bright as I want it to be. So I'm going to spray some setting spray on a brush, and we're gonna go in and try, see if we can get it on. You have to be gentle. It is stamping a little bit, and I'm only doing my outer corner. I'm not doing my whole lid because I still want the yellow to show. And you can see the fallout on my eyelash, but I will clean that as well. That is the end of my eye look as well. All I want to do, very simple. I used about 4 shades, tried some, and now I'm just gonna do the other eye off camera, and I'll be back to do the base. So guys, I am back now, and I finished my other eye, and I just ran a spoolie and through my eyebrows. I did not put brow gel in them today, but we're going to move on to complexion now. So I have a wet beauty blender, and wring out all the water before you use the beauty blender. But we're going to go in with primer for the face now. I'm going to use the professional primer from Benefit just to handle my pores, and then we're going to go in with a different primer to handle the rest of my face. So Benefit on my cheek, because those are where my pores tend to be the largest lately. And then we're going to go for the water cream for the rest of the face. I haven't used this one in a minute, but I like how hydrating it is, and with heat my skin can be a little bit dry, even though I did my skincare to moisturize earlier and get it all ready to go for this, but still heat will dry out my skin in particular, and plus it being in the 90s today is not helping. Let that dry, and I just rub the rest into my hand. I am going to give myself an extra hydration. This is a lavender aerosol, so it's just water and lavender to mist my face. To get my and it's refreshing. That wasn't setting spray, it was lavender hydrosol, which you can find on simplyearth.com if you're into essential oils. Now for foundation purposes, which we all know I do not wear foundation a lot, we are going to use the skin tint from Studio Makeup. I know for a fact this isn't my color, but for today's purposes it will do. I'm going to put that on the butt of the beauty blender, and then we're just going to bounce this. It looks better because I've gotten some sun, so it looks like it matches now, but if I hadn't been in the sun, this would not be my color. And actually I don't even know what shade this is, and I need a mirror because in the viewfinder it looks one way, but up close to me it looks a whole nother. And I'm only doing this to even out my complexion because with the heat I turn red a lot, so I want to cover up. You heard something fall. I want to cover up the redness, especially around my cheek area. It'll help with that a little better. And I get red on my forehead, and yes, I do wear sunscreen, but the hotter it is, it seems like the redder I get. It's natural. And the only thing I don't like about this particular skin tint is that even when you shake it, it's like the product doesn't ever want to come out. It is a nice lightweight skin tint, and it does cover my redness. It doesn't peek through as much when I use it, and that's all I want to cover. I'm not trying to put on pounds of makeup, and usually I don't set this. It usually dries down for me, but it is so hot and I'm in the house even with the air conditioning on. That's why I had to change my filming spot, and I've missed you guys so much. Like, this is only the second video I've filmed in like a month and a half. I've really missed you. So now that that's on, I'm gonna let that sit for like 30 some odd seconds. And then while I'm waiting for that, I have a setting powder from Beauty Bakery. This is their flower powder. That's what I'm gonna use to set today. I'm trying to make sure it doesn't have like a smell or something to it, because if it does, your girl will not be using it because I don't like powders that smell. It doesn't have a smell. So I'm just going to, before I conceal, powder in points on my face. So I'm just going to take the top part now, pinch it, and lightly tap. That should be enough. If it's not, I will go back in, but I don't need a lot of powder. Down basically on my chin and my forehead, and tapping it in. That powder went quick, so we're just going to take a second dip to do my forehead, and we're not going for cake face, so spread out your powder and, like I said, tap it in. Don't blend it in because this will, I'm just going to run this little edge down my nose and run it down the sides of my nose, and I'm not trying to get the powder underneath my eye because I haven't concealed, but if it gets over there it's okay because I'm just going to take this in, blend on the rest of my cheek, over here and over here, and make sure the powder is gone from my chin. It doesn't look cakey, but I'm trying to make sure all the powder residue is gone before I move on to concealer. But I'm gonna use like a glowier concealer in my regular Tresinique concealer. You guys seen me use this one before. It's like a crayon. I'm gonna need that powder, so I haven't closed it. This is in the shade Toffee. I would like it to be lighter. I'm just gonna run this under my under eye, only under there. This is what I'm gonna use this concealer for. Like the veins on my under eye, you can't tell from where the camera is. I just want to cover them up, so I'm running it under each side. And then for the other concealer, which is from Shape Tape actually, I'm only going to use that on the high pointers of my face. Glow Wand one in the shade Aurora, I believe is how you say it. I'm just going to see where the triangle of my eye is. We're going to swipe there, swipe up, I'm swiping up with this concealer to give my face a lifted look without actually lifting my face. And my mouth, I'm going to do the same thing. So the corners of my mouth is where I'm going to start. You want to go in a diagonal motion. I'm going to go down the sides of my nose as well. So I put my concealer in technically 3 down my nose. That's it from concealer. If I wasn't trying to cover my under eyes, I would have just used this one. I haven't tried this one under the eyes, but for what I just did, it works perfectly because you want to lift and highlight. So I'm going to take my same beauty blender that's still damp and blend it in. Don't drag, and you kind of have to do this quickly because I've learned that this one dries down a little bit. So if I wasn't doing this on camera, one side at a time, and I swipe it down the nose. I like to swipe it down my nose. It makes sure I doesn't bring it too far. But where my eye is, I'm just going to making sure I got the corners of my, making sure there's no creasing. If there is, that's where I just kind of wipe any extra. Now I'm going to dip back into that powder, only powder, a tiny bit where I had the concealer in my mouth and by my eye so it's set. Okay, we have powdered, so we're done with powder. Now that we're done with powder, I'm just going to spray some setting spray, because sometimes powder can dry you out. But that one doesn't seem too drying to me, so I'm going to close my eyes. To rehydrate and to melt everything in. And then I'm not going to highlight today, but I am going to bronze. You guys know I love this bronzing palette from Beaute, but I'm gonna go in with the lightest shade in the palette today. These ones don't have one, and I'm gonna go with that one. Just lightly dust it on the temples of my forehead is where I'm going to put this. Today, I only want it on the temples of my forehead today. Usually I would do down my cheek, but I don't want it there today. So we're just going to go through the temples of my forehead on both sides. And lastly, we're gonna go in with lips, and I do have a lip liner from Saint Lux, and this is in the shade Love Letter. So I'm just going to line my lips and keep it natural. I'm not going for an overline look today. Oh, I forgot. I still had the lip balm on my lips. No wonder the pencil's not gliding. I'm going to take my makeup cloth here to wipe the lip balm off my lip, making sure not to get it anywhere else on my face. Just the lip balm. Now we're going to take this liquid lip from Dose of Colors. Had this one for a while. It's my favorite new shade from Dose of Colors, and it's in the shade Flirty. perfect nude. I wanted to keep the lips nude because the eyeshadow is already so colored. I just always make sure I wipe off my applicators when I put gloss over liquid lips, because sometimes they're not completely dry. But we are actually done, and I am going to spray myself with setting spray. I'm using, this one is from Maven Beauty. It's their rose water setting spray. Give myself one good spritz. Close your eyes. Fan yourself to let it all sink in. I don't have my electric fan like I usually do in some videos. I think I left it in the car the other day when I was outside. So let me thank you guys for watching this video. Remember, I'm always thinking of you, sending my love, and bye for now.